All right, let's get started. We've got Devin in the 2018 Kia Stinger up in the Napa lane here. And making full use of mutual propane burnout box in the AMA lane, we've got Rick Wildman in the 2019 Dodge Challenger. With a last name like Wildman, I mean, I feel like that gives you a bit of a leg up here. Well, we'll see. They both get near identical starts. Now, it seems as if the purple Challenger just, I don't know, didn't track him on that run, but the Kia Stinger finishes off in 13:11 with a speed of 106.79 miles per hour. All right, next up, we've got Tim Turpin in the 2009 Chevy HHR SS going up against Bailey in the 2018 Dodge Challenger. Oh, once again, it looks like something in the AMA lane not tracking there, but the 2018 Dodge Challenger finishes off at 91.11 miles per hour in a time of 15.41 seconds. All right, next up, we've got you in the 2022 Kia in the AMA lane, taking on Paul's 1972 Ford Ranchero in the Napa lane. All right, bit of a slow start here for the Kia in the AMA lane, but they've already caught up, gotten out in front, and they will take this one at 111 miles per hour in a time of 13.4 seconds, beating out that 72 Ford Ranchero by a whole 1.8 seconds. Up now in the Napa lane, you've got Kent in the 1982 Ford Mustang taking on Steffen's 1979 Corvette. Oh, and that Mustang way out in front already. Yeah, they're going to finish this one off first in a time of 12.5 seconds and 100 miles per hour, beating out that Corvette coming in at 94.08. In the Napa lane, we got a regular here. It's Vincent Viglianti in the Dodge Challenger taking on the truck in the AMA lane. And it'll go to Vincent Viglianti with a time of 12.75 seconds at 107 miles per hour. Up next is Brian Cust in the 2017 Corvette in the Napa lane. Way out in front of the competitor here in the AMA lane already. And Brian crosses the finish line first at 112.02 miles per hour to beat out the competition by 2.5 seconds. Up next, we've got Reginald Campbell in the 2014 Chevy Camaro in the Napa lane, taking on our white car in the AMA lane, just peeling out of the mutual propane burnout box. Ooh. They're off. Reginald way out in front already here as the white car in the AMA lane tries to catch up, but Reggie's going to take it. 13.49 seconds, 104 miles per hour. They'll credit to the other car. They did get it up to 117.49 right at the end there. Next up, we got, a couple interesting vehicles. Not sure what's in our AMA lane, but we got Neil in the 1968 VW Beetle in the Napa lane. And the VW Beetle manages to cross the line first at 103 miles per hour. Identical speed for the competitor, but yet they'll take that one by just 0.65 seconds. Peeling out of the mutual propane burnout box in the AMA lane, we got Rick Wildman back in the 2019 Purple Dodge Challenger, taking on Devin's 2018 Kia Stinger in the Napa lane. Both cars got a quick start here, but the Dodge Challenger was out in front, and yet they'll take it. 118 miles per hour, crossing over at 11.75 seconds to beat out the Stinger by a second and a half. All right, now we're in Alberta. We got two trucks on the track ready to race. A close race there by a margin of 0.21 seconds. The truck in the AMA lane will take it with a speed of 88 miles per hour. Up next, we got Yu Sung in the 2022 Kia in the AMA lane, and Caitlin Stewart in the 2019 VW Golf in the Napa lane. It's like half the fun of street legals, right? I feel like you'd never see these two cars get involved with racing practically anywhere else. But all right, let's see what they can do. And the Volkswagen Golf takes it with a victory of 0.22 seconds over the 2022 Kia, coming in at 13.13 seconds. All right, we'll throw it back to the 70s here. We got Paul Cust in the 1972 Ford Ranchero, the AMA lane, getting a bit of a late start here over Stefan's 1979 Corvette in the Napa lane. And Stefan's going to take it. Has a speed of 92.57 miles per hour, but finishing off at 14.77 seconds to beat out the Ranchero by 2.2 seconds. Up in the AMA lane, you got Tim Turpin in the 2009 Chevy HHR SS, taking on Bailey's in 2018 Dodge Challenger in the Napa lane. Ooh, both get a quick start here. Good reaction times. The Chevy is out in front, and they'll keep it that way, finishing off 0.8 seconds ahead of the Challenger for a time of 14.52 seconds at 104 miles per hour. All right, a couple trucks are back in the lanes. In the AMA lane, we've got Brandon Bentley in a 2020 Ford F-150 taking on the truck in the Napa lane. They're keeping it close, but that F-150 is out in front, and they keep it that way just in time to keep the victory with a time of 14.14 seconds, beating out that other truck by only 0.82 seconds. As we move on now to Tate Hansen in the 2016 Chevy Corvette in the AMA lane, and Brian's 2017 Corvette in the Napa lane. And Brian takes this one by 0.0579 seconds. So close there. He crosses over at 111 miles per hour. That Corvette in the AMA lane at 121. It just wasn't enough. All right, it's our first bikes of the night. We got Todd Klinger's 2006 Kawasaki in the AMA lane with Doug on the 2006 Yamaha Apex in the Napa lane. And the Apex takes it at 147.64 miles per hour with a time of 8.84 seconds. Man, we can always count on the motorcycles for a quick race there, huh? All right, we got Reginald in the 2014 Chevy Camaro in the AMA lane, or Napa lane, sorry, taking on our car in the AMA lane. Oh, and the AMA lane takes it by 0.4 seconds. We shift back to smaller vehicles. We got Dwayne's 1980 Chevy Sierra going up against Steve's 1979 short box truck, which you can see in the Napa lane. Sorry, the Napa lane. And the 1980 Chevy Sierra takes it. 121.26 miles per hour. That's going to beat out the short box truck by a second, 0.86. We got a solo round now. Next up for a solo quarter mile here, we got Mike Kraus in the 1971 GMC C10 out from Calgary. All right, up in the the Napa lane, we've got Caitlin in the pink 2019 VW Golf going up against Yusong in the 2022 Kia in the AMA lane. Oh man, and look at that VW Golf off. And the VW Golf takes it at 103 miles per hour. Credit to Yusong. Got that 2022 Kia up to 110. Just wasn't enough to take the victory. But we'll throw it back a few decades now. We got Kevin in the 1965 Ford Mustang Fastback in the AMA lane, taking on Stefan's 1979 Corvette in the Napa lane. Ooh, listen to squeal as they get started here. Corvette's out in front by the 8th mile here. Neither one going past 80 miles per hour, but that Corvette will claim it at 91.54 miles per hour, taking victory by a second and a half at a time of 14.9 seconds. All right, we got Paul Cuss in the 1972 Ford Ranchero in the AMA lane with Brian Cuss in the 2017 Corvette in the Napa lane, and Brian's going to take this one 110 miles per hour, finishing off 2.76 seconds ahead of Paul. You know they share a name. You know they're related in some way. Hopefully that's not going to cause too much problem. Time now for a solo lap from our driver in the Napa lane. All right, looks like we're in for a fast one here. We got Len Sturr in the 2018 Harley Street Glide in the AMA lane, going up against Danny's 2014 Harley in the Napa lane. And the Harley Street Glide takes it at 118.39 miles per hour for a time of 11.42 seconds, beating out Danny's Harley by 1.78 seconds there. We got another Harley now for a solo lap. It's Matt Cater in the Napa lane on his Harley Davidson. And he'll finish off at 133 miles per hour at a time of 11.21 seconds. As we now welcome the 1967 VW Beetle back to the track in the Napa lane with Neil Spears behind the wheel. Taking on our driver in the AMA lane. By the 8th mile, the VW Beetle is in first, and they'll take it at 103 miles per hour in 13.09 seconds. Woo, look at that smoke coming off Joe's car in the AMA lane now as he peels out of the neutral propane burnout box. Going up against Reginald Campbell in the 2014 Chevy Camaro in the Napa lane. Reg gets the head start there, but I think Joe may have been giving it to him as he rockets past him, finishing first at 132 miles per hour in a time of 11.23 seconds. Even with that head start, he beats out Reginald's car by 1.33 seconds. Up next, we're going to see a solo lap for the quarter mile with a 2018 Jeep in the AMA lane. In the AMA lane, we've got Randy Welton in the 1987 Toyota Camry. And out from Airdrie, we got Bailey in the 2018 Dodge Challenger in the Napa lane. Both get off to a decent start here. They're keeping it neck and neck as they both cross the 8th mile at 73 miles per hour. And Randy Wilton takes it by 0.27 seconds at 95 miles per hour to finish off the time of 15.11 seconds. Next up, we got Devon's 2018 Kia Stinger going up against the vehicle in the Napa lane. And the 2018 Kia Stinger takes a loss here to the vehicle in the Napa lane, finishing off at 107.07 miles per hour. Next up is a solo lap from Tate Hansen in the 2016 Chevy Corvette. And he'll finish off at 117.22 miles per hour, going to take the quarter mile in 12.88 seconds. Next, in the AMA lane, we've got Yusong back in the 2022 Kia, this time up against Stefan's 1979 Corvette in the Napa lane. Corvette gets the quicker start. Oh, but by the 8th mile, the Kia is already out in front. And by the quarter, they finish off first at 110.57 miles per hour for 12.41 seconds. Next up, we got the Custs back. Paul Cust in the 1972 Ford Ranchero is in the AMA lane with Brian Cust, sporting the 2017 Corvette in the Napa lane, both out from Spruce Grove. I was going to stop at Spruce, then I remembered the rest of that name. A bit of a too early start there for the Ranchero. Not that it really matters when you're racing friends, just when we can call you out for it. But Brian will take this one at 109.08 13.09 miles per hour to finish off in 13.33 seconds. That is a difference of 2.7 seconds over Paul. Woo! Making some clouds in the mutual propane burnout box, we got Ken Karosik pulling out in the 2016 Ford Mustang GT in the Napa lane. And Ken finishes at 111.69 miles per hour in a time of 11.07 seconds. Up next, we have a couple of Dodge Challengers. In the AMA lane, we got Vincent Viglianti out from Edmonton and a Dodge Challenger 2022. Just peeling out of the mutual propane burnout box. Up in the Napa lane, though, we got Bailey Morehouse in the 2018 Dodge Challenger. And Vincent Vigliani takes it at 107 miles per hour to finish off in 12.8 seconds as Bailey Morehouse trails in behind 3.01 seconds after. Next up, I guess we're keeping it going with the Challengers. We got Rick Wildman in the purple 2019 Dodge Challenger in the Napa lane, going up against the truck in the AMA lane, pulling out first from the mutual propane burnout box. And Rick Wildman takes it at 111.91 miles per hour. He's going to finish off that quarter mile in 12.41 seconds. Yu Song is back in the Napa lane with the 2022 Kia, this time taking on Kevin Mohan. Mohan on the 1965 Ford Mustang Fastback. The Mustang gets the faster reaction time here, but once again, it looks like the Kia has caught up by the 8th mile, and by the quarter, they finish off at 110.84 miles per hour in just 12.35 seconds. All right, the Custs are back once again. Paul Cust in the 1972 Ford Ranchero going up against Brian Cust in the 2017 Corvette in the Napa lane. And I don't think we've seen that Ranchero take one yet tonight. It's another one for Brian Cust in the 2017 Corvette at 110.4 miles per hour, 13.2 seconds, as we now take a solo lap in the Napa lane. Now, this is a car I have not seen before. Might be the same for you. It's Mitchell Armstrong pulling up in the AMA lane in a 1989 Plymouth Horizon. And the Plymouth Horizon gets up to 104 miles per hour while finishing off in a time of 13.27 seconds in the AMA lane. And we're back at it. We've got the 2018 Jeep hanging out in the AMA lane, taking on Dave Law, returning to the JB's Power Center's Friday Night Street Legals. 2018 Jeep Trackhawk in the Napa lane. And Dave Law takes it by 0.98 seconds at a speed of 118.39 miles per hour, 11.45 seconds. Next up, we got Tate Hansen in the AMA lane. He's driving a 2016 Chevy Corvette, going up against Kevin's 1965 Ford Mustang Fastback. No competition. That Corvette finishes off at 121.29 miles per hour, beating out the Ford Mustang by 3.13 seconds. All right, looks like a solo race. Matt Cater in the 2009 Kawasaki in the AMA lane, already at 98.86 miles per hour. They're going to finish at 126.72. Time of 11.54 seconds for Matt. As we head now to a couple of Harleys, Len Sir is on the 2018 Street Glide in the AMA lane with Danny on the 2014 Harley in the Napa lane. And the Harley Street Glide will take it at 118.45 miles per hour. 11.86 seconds is the finish time, beating out that other Harley by 1.17 seconds. So we look now to a solo lap from another another biker. Shouldn't say cyclist, very different things. Up next, Paul Cust, not taking on the other Cust. Going up against Yu Song in the 22 Kia. Paul, of course, behind the wheel of that 1972 Ford Ranchero in the AMA lane. And the 2022 Kia once again takes a victory at 109.92 miles per hour. Another unfortunate loss there for Paul Cust in the 1972 Ford Ranchero. Next up, we got Brian Cust in the 2017 Corvette taking on the truck in the AMA lane. Up next, Stefan in the 1979 Corvette in the AMA lane is taking on our driver in the Napa lane. They keep it close, but the 79 Corvette takes an L here to the driver in the Napa lane, finishing off 0.54 seconds ahead. Next up is Neil Spurs in the 1968 VW Beetle, back in the AMA lane, with Reginald Campbell also returning in the 2014 Chevy Camaro in the Napa lane. Both get off to a quick reaction here. Now, once again, that VW Beetle, always surprising. They'll finish off first at 102.74 miles per hour, only getting ahead of Reginald's Chevy Camaro by 0.43 seconds. Oh, voice crack, that's how impressive it was. All right, we got Dave Law in the 2018 Jeep Trackhawk now in the AMA lane, taking on the Napa lane. And the Jeep Trackhawk takes it at 118.30 miles per hour, time of 11.43 seconds. In the Napa lane, you got Jason in the 2019 BMW going up against Mitchell's 1989 Plymouth Horizon. And the BMW takes it 2.18 seconds ahead of the Horizon. 121.16 miles per hour for Jason in the BMW. Next up is Tate Hansen in the 2016 Chevy Corvette. And here we go, taking on our competitor in the Napa lane, just peeling out of the mutual propane burnout box. And the Napa lane takes it by 0.34 seconds at 119.87 miles per hour. as we head now to Kevin in the 1965 Ford Mustang Fastback in the Napa lane, taking on the driver in the AMA lane. Next up is Paul Cust, returning in the 1972 Ford Ranchero, once again taking on Yusong's 2022 Kia. We've seen how this one goes, and it looks like it's going the same way here. Paul takes it at a time of 12.40 seconds at 110.24 miles per hour. Better luck next time to the Ranchero. Next up is Ray Stewart's 2014 Chevy Camaro, taking on the other Cust, Brian Cust, in the 2017 Corvette in the Napa lane. Ooh, bad start for Brian there as he starts in the red. Well, Brian crosses over first, but for technicality's sake, the Chevy Camaro takes it at 14.16 seconds, 84 miles per hour. Randy Wilton is up now in the Napa lane, taking on our driver in the AMA lane. Randy's driving a 1987 Toyota Camry. All right, now this one should be fast. We got Doug on the 2006 Yamaha Apex in the Napa lane, taking on another biker in the AMA lane. And the Yamaha Apex takes it at 145 miles per hour, 8.96 seconds, beating out that other biker by 3 seconds. As we change back now to the Harleys. We got Lenster coming on up in the AMA lane on the 2018 Harley Street Glide, going up against Danny's 2014 Harley. Both Harleys are off with good reaction times. The Street Glide out in front crosses the 8th mile at 97 miles per hour, and they're going to take this one at 118.02 miles per hour, finishing off in 11.37 seconds. Change back now to some cars up in the AMA and Napa lane. In the Napa lane, we've got Stefan in the 1979 Corvette taking on Jason's 2019 BMW. I just want to start every number with a 19 tonight. I got both cars off by the 8th mile. Jason's BMW's out in front at 96 miles per hour and finishing at 121.75 miles per hour as the Corvette brings in the rear at 87.62. We got Paul Cust back in the 1972 Ford Ranchero looking for a win tonight, I'm sure. This time going up against Tate Hanson's 2016 Chevy Corvette in the AMA lane. And the Corvette takes it at 117.13 miles per hour. The time of 12.8 seconds. Better luck next time for the Ranchero. Next, we got Brandon Bentley in the 2020 Ford F-150 in the AMA lane out from Cold Lake, taking on Randy Wilton's 1987 Toyota Camry in the Napa lane. And the Ford 50 takes it at 99.39 or 36 miles per hour, beating out the Camry coming in at 94.98 with a time of 14.32 seconds for the Ford F-150. I'll shift now to a solo lap for our driver in the Napa lane. Todd Klinger is in the AMA lane on a 2006 Kawasaki, taking on our biker in the Napa lane. In the AMA lane, Rick Wildman is back in the 2019 Purple Dodge Challenger, taking on our vehicle in the Napa lane, just leaving the mutual propane burnout box. All right, the Dodge Challenger way out in front already. They crossed the 8th mile at 93.77 miles per hour. They're going to take this one at 117.19 miles per hour to finish off in 11.88 seconds. Up next, our driver in the Napa lane is going up against Ray Stewart's 2014 Chevy Camaro in the AMA lane. And the Chevy Camaro takes it by 0.555 seconds at 131.46 miles per hour. Finishing off at 11.25 seconds there, as we now welcome a 2021 Tesla to the AMA lane. Chad Graham behind the wheel going up against the vehicle in the Napa lane there. The truck, I should say. And the Tesla takes it at 117.46 miles per hour in a time of 11.56 seconds. As we change now to the truck in the Napa lane, going up against Randy Wilton's 1987 Toyota Camry in the AMA lane. And Brennan Mason in the Napa lane takes it at 13.83 seconds, 96.94 miles per hour there. As we now head over to Francois in the 2020 Ford F-150 in the AMA lane, with Jason's 2019 BMW pulling up to the Napa lane. And it'll go to Jason's 2019 BMW at 121 miles per hour, beating out the F-150 by 2.5 seconds there. We got Dave Law now back in the AMA lane in a 2018 Jeep Trackhawk to take on Mike Krause's 1971 GMC C10 in the Napa lane. And it's going to go to Dave Law in the Jeep Trackhawk, finishing off at 118.2 miles per hour, time of 11.4145 seconds. Next is Dwayne Sieben from Pinoca in the 1980 Chevy Sierra up against Steve's 1979 short box truck out from Calgary. And man, just look at the clouds still coming off from the Mutual Propane burnout box. And Dwayne's going to take it at 11.32 seconds, 120 miles per hour. But credit to that short box truck, getting it up to 132 miles per hour at the end. Just didn't cross over in time. Next up, it's a solo round. Chris out from Red Deer on the 2018 Jeep in the AMA lane. All right, we got a couple of bikers now. We got Matt Cater in the 2009 Kawasaki in the Napa lane, taking on the biker in the AMA lane, who is out in front, 101 miles per hour by the 8th. And they'll take it at 122.98 miles per hour. Credit to Matt Cater crossing over at 131.31 miles per hour. Just a second and a bit later, unfortunately. We now have Justin King in the 2019 VW Golf R going up against Brennan in the Napa lane. And the VW Golf takes victory at 109 miles per hour, 13.2 seconds, beating out the competition by basically just 1 second. All right, we got Yusong back in the 2022 Kia in the AMA lane, taking on our driver in the Napa lane. And the 2022 Kia takes it at a time of 12.77 seconds at 110.95 miles per hour. All right, we've got Devin in the 2018 Kia Stinger in the AMA lane going up against our vehicle in the Napa lane, just pulling out of the mutual propane burnout box, and as you can see, making good use of it. And our driver in the Napa lane beats out the Kia Stinger by 0.35 seconds at 105.83 miles per hour. And now we'll shift over to a solo quarter mile for the car in the AMA lane. In the AMA lane, Francois is back in the 2020 Ford F-150 to take on the vehicle in the Napa lane. And Francois, the Ford F-150 takes it at 104.36 miles per hour in a time of 13.9 seconds. Next up, we've got a truck in the Napa lane taking on our blue car in the AMA lane. Now up in the Napa lane, we got Alex of the 2005 GMC Sierra taking on our driver in the AMA lane. They're keeping it neck and neck, both crossing over at the 8th mile at 71 miles per hour. And it'll go to the GMC Sierra by 0.03 seconds, 88.51 miles per hour. As we change now to Yusong, back in the 2022 Kia, taking on Justin King's 2019 VW Golf R. Next up, or I guess currently, we got a couple of bikers on the track. Mike Cater, the 2009 Kawasaki in the Napa lane, taking on the biker in the AMA lane, who just took it 123.36 miles per hour for a time of 11.36 seconds. We'll shift now to a couple of cars. We've got Dave Law in the 2018 Jeep Trackhawk going up against Kalen Stewart's pink 2019 VW Golf. You know, the flame stripes are out. It's all about the pink cars now. Watch as she wins purely by having the cooler car. I jinxed Caitlin here as the Jeep Trackhawk takes it. 11.43 seconds, 118 miles per hour. Caitlin bringing it up at 104 miles per hour, 2.2 seconds later. We got Vincent Viglianti now in the Napa lane with the 2022 Dodge Challenger taking on Devin's 2018 Kia Stinger in the AMA lane. Both up past 80 miles per hour at the 8th. And Vincent's going to take it at 107.91 miles per hour for a time of 12.666 seconds. Woo, all right, peeling out of the Mutual Propane Burnout box, we got Chris's 1993 Mazda RX-7 going up against the white truck in the Napa lane. In the AMA lane, out from Cold Lake, we got Brandon Bentley in the 2020 Ford F-150 taking on Reginald Campbell from Leduc in the 2014 Chevy Camaro. And the Chevy Camaro takes it by 0.81 seconds at a speed of 110.21 miles per hour. We now have Mike Hussey in the Napa lane in the 2020 Ford Mustang, going up against Chris's 2018 Jeep in the AMA lane. Next up, our car in the AMA lane is going up against the 1973 Ford Mustang in the Napa lane. And it'll go to the Mustang crossing over at 106 miles per hour, but boy, did that other car try to catch up, crossing over at 116.25. We now have Ray Stewart in the 2014 Chevy Camaro taking on our driver in the AMA lane. And the Camaro takes it at 130.66 miles per hour to beat out the competition by 3.17. Next, we have Tate Hansen, the 2016 Chevy Corvette, taking on the car in the Napa lane, just peeling out of the Mutual Propane burnout box. And the Corvette takes it by 0.4 seconds at a speed of 121.98 miles per hour, beating out the competition by 0.4 seconds as we now head to Paul Cust back in the 1972 Ranchero, once again looking for a win over our driver in the AMA lane. And the Ranchero, unfortunately, doesn't make the cut as our driver in the AMA lane takes the win. 122.95 miles per hour at a time of 11.29 seconds. So we now head to a couple of bikes. We got Matt Cater in the 2009 Kawasaki in the Napa lane going up against our biker in the AMA lane. And the AMA lane takes it at 122 miles per hour. That Kawasaki, though, falling in just 0.13 seconds behind 100 miles per hour, though. Next up, we got Doug's 2006 Yamaha Apex in the Napa lane. Going to take a solo quarter mile. In the AMA lane, we got Brandon Bentley in the 2020 Ford F-150 racing our driver in the Napa lane. And it goes to the Napa lane, finishing off at 105 miles per hour, 13.46 seconds to finish, beating out the F-150 by 0.62 seconds, as we now welcome Bailey Morehouse in the 2018 Dodge Challenger to the Napa lane to take on the truck in the AMA lane. In the Napa lane, we've got Reginald Campbell back in the 2014 Chevy Camaro taking on the vehicle in the AMA lane now. And the Camaro takes it. 14.01 seconds at 110 miles per hour. They're going to beat up the competition by just 0.22 seconds. Next up, we got a 1973 Ford Mustang in the AMA lane, looking to take on our driver in the Napa lane. It'll go to the Mustang here, 13.55 seconds at 94.6 miles per hour. And now we've got Paul Cust back in the 1972 Ford Ranchero. Fingers crossed for Paul this time as he takes on our driver in the AMA lane. And Paul Cust finally gets a win tonight. 93.81 miles per hour, 14.98 second time, beating out the competition by 0.9909 seconds. There you go, Paul. All right, next up, we got Jason in the 2019 BMW in the AMA lane, taking on the white truck here in the Napa lane. And it'll go to Jason in the 2019 BMW as we head into our next race here. Both cars pulling out of the mutual propane burnout box. We've got Tate Hansen in the 2016 Chevy Corvette in the AMA lane with Steve Dick in the 2019 Ford in the Napa lane. And the Chevy Corvette claims a victory at 11.98 seconds, time or speed of 122 miles per hour. All right, we got a couple of bikes back in the lanes. We got Matt Cater on the 2009 Kawasaki going up against our biker in the AMA lane now. AMA lane gets a quicker reaction time there, though they do seem to be keeping it pretty close. And the Kawasaki takes it by 0.16 seconds. 11 seconds for a time, 134 miles for speed. In the AMA lane now, we got Ray Stewart coming in a 2014 Chevy Camaro. Going up against Christopher's 2018 Jeep in the Napa lane. And the Chevy Camaro will claim victory at 130.59 miles per hour, beating out the 2018 Jeep by a whole second. Back in the Napa lane, personal favorite is Caitlin Stewart's pink 2019 VW Golf, taking on Bailey's 2018 Dodge Challenger. And the VW Golf takes it at 103 miles per hour clean in a time of 13.97 seconds. Back now with a win under their belt, it's Paul Cust in the 1972 Ford Ranchero taking on the driver in the Napa lane. And it will go to the Napa lane by 0.059 seconds, finishing at 87.99 miles per hour for a time of 15.13 seconds. Next up in the 1968 VW Beetle is Neil Spears out from Calgary, taking on our driver in the AMA lane. And the Beetle takes it at 103 miles per hour, finishing off in 13.01 seconds, 0.87 ahead of the AMA lane. Next up, we've got Jason in the 2019 BMW in the Napa lane going up against our driver in the AMA lane. And the BMW takes it at 122 miles per hour, 122.68 to be exact, in the time of 11.35 seconds. As we head now to Tate Hansen in the 2016 Chevy Corvette in the AMA lane, taking on the white truck in the Napa lane, already giving off a little bit of exhaust there. And it'll go to the truck at 121.89 miles per hour, just beating out the Corvette by 0.29 seconds. And our next race already off. We got Stefan in the 1979 Corvette going up against Yu Song's 2022 Kia. Yu getting a slow start here, though. Yeah, already caught up and out in front. Yu's going to take it at 109.92 miles per hour in a time of 12.4 seconds. We look now to Nicholas in the 1997 Chevy truck in the AMA lane going up against our driver in the Napa lane. All right, pulling up, skipping the mutual propane burnout box in the Napa lane. We got Sam Gardner from Calgary in a 2010 Ford Crown Victoria, taking on our driver in the AMA lane, who's just pulling out of the mutual propane burnout box now. And it'll go to the Crown Victoria at 117.31 miles per hour in a time of just 12.54 seconds. As we head now to a race I can already smell coming up through the window here. We got Ray Stewart in the 2014 Chevy Camaro taking on Justin King's 2019 VW Golf R in the Napa lane. Chris is back in the AMA lane with a 2018 Jeep, going up against Dave Law's 2018 Jeep Trackhawk. And the Jeep Trackhawk takes a victory at 11.4 seconds and 118 miles per hour. And we got Rick Richardson from Edmonton in the AMA lane, driving a 1980 Chevy Camaro Z28 with going up against Rick Wildman in the 2019 Purple Dodge Challenger in the Napa lane. And it'll go to the 1980 Chevy Camaro Z28 by 0.38 seconds at 113.38 miles per hour. A couple of older trucks here. All right. In the Napa lane, we've got Mike Kraus in the 1971 turquoise? I'm going to say turquoise GMC C10. Going up against Dwayne Siebens' 1980 Chevy Sierra in the AMA lane. Yeah, seeing a red there for the 1980 Chevy Sierra off to a too early of a start. And while they do cross over first, it's going to go to the 1971 GMC C10 at 116 miles per hour. Next up is Paul Cust once again in the lanes with the 1972 Ford Ranchero taking on the red vehicle in the AMA lane. Oh, and well, unfortunately for Paul Cust, the AMA lane takes it at 121.42 miles per hour, while Cust pulls in at 68 miles per hour, 5.5 seconds trailing behind. Next up, though, we got Brennan Mason on the black truck there in the AMA lane, taking on our vehicle in the Napa lane. The Harleys are back. We got Len Sturr on the 2018 Harley Street Glide in the AMA lane with Jerry Fitzgerald on the 2006 Harley in the Napa lane. And the 2018 Harley Street Glide will claim a victory by just 0.21 seconds at a time of 11.90, speed of 110.27. All right, looks like we're going to be keeping it going with some bikes. In the AMA lane, we've got Akron on a 2007 Dyna taking on our biker in the Napa lane, Matt Cater on the 2009 Kawasaki. And at 134 miles per hour, Matt Cater in the 2009 Kawasaki takes this one in 10.99 seconds. A couple more bikes for you now. We got Danny's 2014 Harley in the AMA lane with Robert on the 1999 Suzuki. Of course, both already off because, man, these bikes are fast. And the Suzuki takes a victory at 123.49 miles per hour in 11.3 seconds. Next, in the AMA lane, it's Doug on the 2006 Yamaha Apex with Gene on the 2003 Suzuki in the Napa lane. And it goes to the Yamaha Apex at 144 miles per hour in 9.25 seconds. Wow. All right, next up in the AMA lane, we have a 2021 Tesla with Chad behind the wheel. Ken in the 2016 Ford Mustang GT in the Napa lane going to take him on. And it goes to the Ford Mustang, beating out the Tesla at 145 miles per hour. 2 seconds ahead. And all right, making some noise in the Napa lane. We got Steve Dick from Red Deer in the 2019 Ford going up against Sean Hawkins' 1967 Pontiac GTO in the AMA lane. Sean Hawkins out from Sherwood Park. And it'll go to Steve Dick in the 2019 Ford at a time of 11.94 seconds, 119.59 miles per hour. We now have Steve Pent out from Calgary, Alberta in the 1979 Short Box truck in the AMA lane, taking on our driver in the Napa lane. In the Napa lane, we've got Bailey Morehouse in the 2018 Dodge Challenger looking to challenge Tim Turpin in the 2009 Chevy HHR SS. Yeah, I felt bad about that joke the second it left my lips. And Tim takes it in the Chevy HHR SS at 106.46 miles per hour in 14.38 seconds. Next up is Reginald Campbell in the 2014 Camaro up in the Napa lane, taking on our driver in the AMA lane. Already off, we got Tate Hansen in the AMA lane behind the wheel of a 2016 Chevy Corvette, going up against Stefan's 1979 Corvette in the Napa lane. But Tate already takes it at 122.25 miles per hour in a time of 11.96 seconds to beat out the Corvette by 3.5 seconds. Next up, we got Yu Song once again returning in the 2022 Kia in the Napa lane. This time going up against Nicholas's 1997 Chevy in the AMA lane. And it goes to Yu Song's 2022 Kia, finishing off at 110.21 miles per hour in 12.36 seconds. Next is Chris in the AMA lane in the 1993 Mazda RX-7, taking on our driver in the Napa lane. And it goes to the Mazda RX-7, finishing off at 131.89 miles per hour in 10.66 seconds, beating out the Napa lane by 5.5 seconds. All right. We look now at Frazier in the 2010 Chevy Camaro in the AMA lane, going up against our silver vehicle in the Napa lane. And the Chevy Camaro finishes at 111 miles per hour to take a victory in 13.16 seconds. In the Napa lane now, we got Rick Wildman once again back in the 2019 purple Dodge Challenger, going up against Chris in the 2018 Jeep in the AMA lane. And Rick Wildman takes it by 0.04 seconds at 116.22 miles per hour. Oh, what a close one. Once again, Paul Cust is back in the 1972 Ford Ranchero, this time in the AMA lane, taking on our vehicle in the Napa lane. Next up in the AMA lane, Mike is in the 2020 Ford Mustang going up against Alex's 2005 GMC Sierra in the Napa lane. Oh man, that Mustang already way out in front by the 8th. They're at 113 miles per hour. And they finish at 143.77 miles per hour in 10.29 seconds. Alex's GMC Sierra trailing behind 5.28 seconds later. Next up is Bailey Morehouse in the 2018 Dodge Challenger in the Napa lane, taking on Tim Turpin's 2009 Chevy HHR SS in the AMA lane. And Tim Turpin takes it at 104.94 miles per hour at a time of 14.23 seconds to beat out the Dodge Challenger by 2.15 seconds as we throw it back to the early 70s. We got Matthew in a 1973 Pontiac Ventura in the AMA lane, taking on Bryant's 1972 Buick Skylark in the Napa lane. And Brian takes it at a time of 12.81 seconds, speed of 113 miles per hour. As we look now to Dave Law coming up in the AMA lane in a 2018 Jeep Trackhawk, taking on our red vehicle, skipping the mutual propane burnout box and heading straight to the Napa lane. And the Jeep Trackhawk takes it at 117.99 miles per hour in a time of just 11.5 seconds. Next is a race between Reginald Campbell in the 2014 Chevy Camaro and Dan in the 1987 Chevy Corvette. Oh, and the Chevy Camaro takes it at 14.41 seconds, just 0.12 seconds ahead of that Corvette. Oh, man, our next race already off. We got a 99 Suzuki in the AMA lane with Robert leading. And Matt Cater on the 2009 Kawasaki taking the victory. 134.29 miles per hour, a time of 10.87 seconds. We changed now to Akron on the 2007 Dyna and Danny in the 2014 Harley. And Danny takes it on the 2014 Harley at 114.13 miles per hour in 12.24 seconds. Keeping with some Harleys here, we got Jerry on the 2006 in the AMA lane and Len on the 2018 Street Glide in the Napa lane. It goes to the Harley Street Glide at 118.36 miles per hour in just 11.25 seconds. Next up is Frazier on the 2010 Chevy Camaro in the AMA lane, taking on Paul Cust in the good old 1972 Ford Ranchero. And it goes to the Chevy Camaro, 114 miles per hour in a time of 12.90 seconds. They'll beat out that Ranchero by 2.23 seconds. Sorry, Paul. Next up is Devin on the 2018 Kia Stinger in the AMA lane, taking on Randy Wilton's 1987 Toyota Camry in the Napa lane. Both cars already off. And it'll go to the Stinger, 106.84 miles per hour in a time of 13.12 seconds. Next up, and already off, it's Caitlin Stewart in the 2019 pink VW Golf in the AMA lane, taking on Chris's 2018 Jeep in the Napa lane. And Chris, way out in front, going to finish off at 114.68 miles per hour to claim victory in 11.91 seconds. All right, next up in the AMA lane, it's Mitchell Armstrong in a 1989 Plymouth Horizon taking on the black car in the Napa lane. And the Plymouth Horizon takes it at 105.68 miles per hour, time of 12.87 seconds to beat out the competition by a second and a half. Next up in the the Napa lane, we've got Dean Watts in the 2022 Chevy Camaro. All right, in the Napa lane, we got Paul Cust once again back in the Ford Ranchero going up against Chris's 1993 Mazda RX-7, already at 99 miles per hour at the half. And they'll finish the quarter mile at 124.79 miles per hour in 11.13 seconds, beating out that Ranchero by 3.6 seconds. Oh, Paul, I'm so sorry. All right, next up, looks like a solo lap here from John Boychuk out from Sherwood Park in the 2002 Chevy Camaro in the AMA lane. Back on the track is Neil Spears in the 1968 VW Beetle in the AMA lane, taking on Randy Wilton's 1987 Toyota Camry in the Napa lane. And the VW Beetle crosses over at 118.02 miles per hour to take the win here. 12.94 seconds at that. Chris is back in the Napa lane in a 2018 Jeep, going up against Tate Hanson's 2016 Chevy Corvette. And there we go, a tight race as Tate, takes the win here by 0.03 seconds, 120.97 miles per hour to Chris's 114.53. Next up in the AMA lane, we got Mike Kraus in the 1971 GMC C10 truck, taking on our car in the Napa lane. And boy, does that truck go fast. Mike is crossing the 8th mile at 93.26 miles per hour. Going to finish off at 115.86. for a time of 11.9 seconds. Next up, we got Dave Law, once again back in the Napa lane in the 2018 Jeep Trackhawk, taking on our driver in the AMA lane. And Dave Law takes it in the Jeep Trackhawk, 117.86 miles per hour, 11.45 seconds to finish. That's 2.5 ahead of the competition. We'll change down to Lane Olenberg in the 1999 Ford. Up against Lucas in the 1984 Grand Prix. And the Ford Ranger takes it 93.75 miles per hour. Unfortunately, that Grand Prix did get up to 100, but man, just not in time. Next up, Reginald Campbell in the Napa lane is going to be taking on the red car, pulling up in the AMA lane, just pulling out of that neutral propane burnout box. Well, Reginald saw red right at the go, so it's going to head to the competition. 117 miles per hour, 11.76 seconds. Also, they beat Reggie the regular way, just plain old faster. Peeling out of the mutual propane burnout box, our next racers are ready to go. We got Ray Stewart in the 2014 Chevy Camaro in the AMA lane, going up against the 2006 Mercedes out of Calgary in the Napa lane. And Ray Stewart claims victory at 128.68 miles per hour in a time of 11.62 seconds. Ahead now to Paul Cust, once again back in the 1972 Ford Ranchero to take on Michael's 1972 Datsun 240Z. And the Datsun takes it at 115.83 miles per hour, 3.48 seconds ahead of the Ranchero there. We'll head back to bikes now. We got Robert on the 1999 Suzuki coming up in the AMA lane with Matt Cater on the 2009 Kawasaki in the Napa lane, both already off. And the 1999 Suzuki takes it at 123.73 miles per hour in 11.46 seconds. Next is Akron on the 2007 Dyna in the AMA lane, with Jerry driving a 2006 Harley in the Napa lane. And Jerry Fitzgerald in the '06 Harley takes it at 113 miles per hour, 12.13 seconds. Next up, we got John McKenzie in the 2017 Nissan in the Napa lane, going up against Josie in the 1987 Chevy S10 in the AMA lane. And the 2017 Nissan takes a victory with 11.37 seconds, 122 miles per hour. Next up, Rick Richardson in the 1980 Chevy Camaro Z28 is taking on Randy Wilton in the 1987 Toyota Camry in the Napa lane. And the Chevy Camaro takes it at 117 miles per hour in just 13.32 seconds, while the Camry trails behind 4.19 seconds later. Next, in the Napa lane, we've got Stefan in the 1979 Corvette taking on the black car in the AMA lane. And it'll go to the AMA lane, beating out the Corvette by 0.1 second at 101.79 miles per hour. Next up in the AMA lane, Alex is driving a 2005 GMC Sierra, going up against Jeffrey in the Napa lane in the 2017 Ford Focus. By the 8th mile, Jeffrey's out in front. They're both going pretty near identical speeds, though, so... Oh, and Jeffrey hangs on to it to claim a victory. 91.76 miles per hour at 15.29 seconds. Now, peeling out of the mutual propane burnout box, as I'm sure you heard, we got Steve Dick in the 2019 Ford, taking on our car in the AMA lane. And Steve takes a victory here, 13.01 seconds at 112 miles per hour. Next up, we got Jason in the 2019 BMW in the AMA lane, taking on Dave Law's 2018 Jeep Trackhawk in the Napa lane. And the BMW will take it at 11.34 seconds, winning by just 0.15 seconds. We got a solo lap now. It's Brendan in the 1978 Chevy truck. All right, in the AMA and the Napa lane, we have a 2020 Ford F-150. Identical. I mean, not physically, but all right. In the AMA lane, we got Brandon Bentley behind the wheel with Francois behind the wheel in the Napa lane. Well, Francois is going to take that one, 13.63 seconds, 105 miles per hour, beating out the other Ford F-150 by 0.72 seconds there. Now in the AMA lane, we got Steve in the 1979 short box truck to take on Dwayne Siebens' 1980 Chevy Sierra, which you can see in the Napa lane. Oh, well, there goes the Sierra, the short box truck. Lagging behind a bit there. And the Chevy Sierra finishes off at 120 miles per hour for the win. Unfortunately, the short box crossing over just 3 seconds too late, but at 134.33 miles per hour. Next now is a solo lap from Alex in the 2000 Ford out from Sherwood Park in the AMA lane. They'll finish off in 15.21 seconds at 94.64 miles per hour. Next on the track, we got Mike Kraus back on the 1971 turquoise GMC C10, taking on Michael's 1972 Datsun 240Z. And the Datsun takes it by 0.41 seconds at 116.88 miles per hour, finishing off in 12.71 seconds. We move on now to Ray Stewart in the 2014 Chevy Camaro, taking on the driver in the AMA lane. And the Chevy Camaro takes it at 130 miles per hour, finishing off in 11.41 seconds there. As we move on with Sean Hawkins in the AMA lane, driving a 1967 Pontiac GTO up against Justin King's 2019 VW Golf R. It goes to the Golf. Sorry, it goes to the VW Golf. There we go. At 110 miles per hour. Credit to the Pontiac. They did get up to 120.68, just not in time. All right, our 2021 Tesla is back on the track in the Napa lane, taking on our driver in the AMA lane. And the Tesla takes it at 116 miles per hour in 11.6 seconds. Next up, we have Jeff Howe from Beaver, Alberta. 1987 Buick Grand National in the AMA lane, going up against Bob Taylor's 1971 Chevy Camaro Z28. All right, back to bikes. We got Robert on the 1999 Suzuki in the AMA lane with Akron on the 2007 Dyna in the Napa lane. And it goes to the Suzuki, 11.33 seconds at 124.10 miles per hour, beating out the 07 Dyna by nearly 4 seconds there. We'll move on to our Harleys. We got Danny in the 2014 in the AMA lane with Len in the 2018 Street Glide. And oh, Len seeing red right from the get-go there. That's going to cost him, but hey, in terms of all fun, it doesn't really matter. Len does cross over first, but yeah, victory there will go to Danny on 12.54 seconds, 114 miles per hour. We got Doug on the 2006 Yamaha Apex now in the Napa lane. Our next race is between Dan in the 1987 Chevy Corvette and our vehicle in the AMA lane. And it goes to the AMA lane at 122 miles per hour and 11.68 seconds, beating out the Corvette by a clear 3 seconds. Next up, we have a solo quarter lap from Lucas in the 1984 Grand Prix. And the Grand Prix finishes off at 98.5 miles per hour and 13.9998 seconds. Just shy of the 14. All right, next up, we're back to the races. It's Brennan on the 1978 Chevy truck, taking on our yellow car in the AMA lane. Sorry. And it'll go to the AMA lane at 104 miles per hour at a time of 12.4 seconds in just a margin of 1.17 seconds over the Chevy truck. A couple of Chevys now. We got Frazier in the 2010 Camaro in the AMA lane, and Ray in the 2014 Camaro in the Napa lane. Well, Ray finishes off at 130 miles per hour to claim victory there in 11.13 seconds, beating out the other Camaro by a clean second and a half. Next up, we got Reginald Campbell back in the 2014 Chevy Camaro to take on Mitchell Armstrong's 1989 Plymouth Horizon. Of course, both are already off by now. We got the Plymouth Horizon out in front by the 8th mile, and yeah, they'll finish off the quarter 104.29 miles per hour, taking a victory in 12.78 seconds. And we are keeping it going with the Camaros. Reginald Campbell. Well, welcome back. Another pair of racers now in the AMA lane. We got Sam Gardner from Calgary in the 2010 Ford Crown Victoria. Up in the Napa lane, we got Dan's 1987 Chevy Corvette. And the Crown Victoria takes it in 12.85 seconds at 116.10 miles per hour. Next up in the Napa lane, we got Michael in the 1955 Chevy taking on the black car in the AMA lane. And the Chevy takes it at 106.89 miles per hour in 12.94 seconds. Good for them. Next up, we got Wyatt on the 2011 Ford Mustang in the AMA lane. Sorry, the Napa lane, taking on our driver in the AMA lane. And the Mustang takes the victory by half a second at 101 miles per hour, 13.76 seconds. As we switch now to a solo lap from Robert on the 1999 Suzuki. And our next race is between Alex in the 2000 Ford in the the Napa lane, and John in the 2002 Chevy Camaro in the AMA lane. And it's going to go to Alex in the 2000 Ford at 96.98 miles. Finished off in 14.55 seconds, while the Camaro rolls across at 95.45 miles per hour. Next up, we got Caitlin Stewart in the pink 2019 VW Golf in the Napa lane, taking on Dan's 1987 Chevy Corvette in the AMA lane. And it goes to Caitlin Stewart in the VW Golf at 104.85 miles per hour, beating him out by 1.3 seconds there. We now move to Dave Law in the 2018 Jeep Trackhawk in the AMA lane, going up against Francois in the 2020 Ford F-150 in the Napa lane. And it's going to go to Dave Law, the 2018 Jeep Trackhawk, at 11.42 seconds at 118.45 miles per hour there. We move on out to a solo quarter mile for Mike Hussey in the 2020 Ford Mustang in the Napa lane. All right, now we've got Robert of the 1999 Suzuki taking a solo lap in the AMA lane. And they'll finish off at 120.71 miles per hour, 11.32 seconds for a finish time. Next up, we got John on the 2002 Chevy Camaro in the AMA lane with Alex in the 2004 in the Napa lane. And the Chevy Camaro takes it at 94.78 miles per hour in a time of 14.37 seconds. Next, in the AMA lane, we got Dean Watts in the 2022 Chevy Camaro ZL1, taking on Josie's 1987 Chevy S10. And the Camaro is going to take this one, finishing off at 121.82 miles per hour with a time of 11.82 seconds. We move on now to Jason in the Napa lane, but driving a 2019 BMW, taking on the car in the AMA lane, sorry. And it's going to go to the 2019 BMW by 0.75 seconds at 123.63 miles per hour. Next, we got another solo racer, a truck in the AMA lane. It's Brandon Bentley driving a 2020 Ford F-150. And Brandon finishes off at 100.4 miles per hour at a time of 14.27 seconds. Next up, we got Chris in the 1993 Mazda RX-7 with Dave Law in the 2018 Chief Trackhawk in the Napa lane. Bit of a delay there for that Mazda, though. They may have been trying to give him a head start. If that's the case, they still wound up losing by a second, though the Mazda got up to 134.49 miles per hour to the Jeep's 118.67, so it does seem like maybe a 2-second head start was too much. Next up, we got Jeff in the 1987 Buick Grand National, taking on Tim Turpin's 2009 Chevy HHR SS. It's close, but it's going to the 2009 Chevy HHR SS. 104.43 miles per hour to take that one in a time of 14.48 seconds. Move on now to Bailey Morehouse back in the 2018 Dodge Challenger in the AMA lane, taking on Sean Hawkins in the 1967 Pontiac GTO. Ooh, a quicker reaction time from the Challenger, but the Pontiac's already out in front now. And yeah, they'll finish off at 120.42 miles per hour in a time of 11.77 seconds to beat out the Dodge Challenger by 3.24 seconds. We'll swap now to a solo quarter mile from Brennan Mason in the 1978 Chevy truck in the Napa lane. Seeing red right from the get-go. Not sure that really matters when you race solo, but it matters. And coasting on through the quarter mile at 36.25 miles per hour at a time of 19.33 seconds. It's Brennan Mason in the 1978 truck. Next up, we got Chad Graham in the 2021 Tesla in the AMA lane. And the Tesla finishes off at 116.01 miles per hour, 11.64 seconds. Get another solo lap now from Robert on the 1999 Suzuki. And Robert finishes off at 125.28 miles per hour in 11.05 seconds as we move on to another race, this time between the 2011 Ford Mustang in the AMA lane and the 1984 Grand Prix in the Napa lane. And the Mustang takes it at 104.51 miles per hour in 13.71 seconds, beating out that Grand Prix by 2.6 seconds. Back to the track. We got Paul Cust in the 1972 Ford Ranchero. This time, seems to be taking a solo lap in the Napa lane. And the Ranchero finishes off at 93.89 miles per hour in 15.2 seconds as we get back to another race. It's Dave Law in the 2018 Jeep Trackhawk now in the AMA lane, taking on Michael's 1955 Chevy in the Napa lane. And it goes to Dave Law with the Jeep Trackhawk, 11.43 seconds at 118.61 miles per hour. We'll keep the races going now with Dean Watts in the 2022 Chevy Camaro ZL1 in the Napa lane, taking on Jeff Howe in the AMA lane behind the wheel of a 1987 Buick Grand National. And the Camaro takes it at 111.39 miles per hour. That's a time of 12.32 seconds to beat out the Grand National by 2.5 seconds. Next up, it's a solo lap, from the yellow car in the Napa lane. Next up, we got Tim Turpin, the 2009 Chevy HHRS S in the AMA lane, taking on Bailey Morehouse's 2018 Dodge Challenger in the Napa lane. And the Chevy HHRSS takes it at 105.14 miles per hour at a time of 14.23 seconds. Right now, literally already off, we got a solo lap from 2011 Ford Mustang here, the AMA lane. And they'll finish off at 104.55 miles per hour in 13.68 seconds. We got another solo now from Brennan Mason on the 1978 Chevy truck. The Chevy truck's taking their time here. They're going to finish off at 45 miles per hour at a time of 20.59 seconds for Brennan Mason in the 1978 Chevy truck. Back again, we got Paul Cust in the 1972 Ford Ranchero, another solo quarter mile here. And they'll finish at 94.5 miles per hour in 15.21 seconds as we move on to a race between Rick Richardson in the 1980 Chevy Camaro Z28 and Damon Walker in the 2022 BMW. And the Chevy Camaro finishes first by 0.6 seconds ahead of the BMW at a speed of 118.23 miles per hour. Next up now, we got another solo race. It's Michael Back on the 1972 Datsun 240Z. And they'll finish off at 116 miles per hour, 12.51 seconds. As we move on to another solo quarter mile, sorry. It's Mike Hussey on the 2020 Ford Mustang. Whoa. In the Napa lane. And they'll finish off in 10.09 seconds at 144 miles per hour. Next up in the lanes, we got Dave Law in the 2018 Jeep Trackhawk in the AMA lane, taking on Ken's 2016 Ford Mustang GT in the Napa lane. All right, next up, we got some bikes. It's Akron on the 2007 Dyna in the AMA lane with Danny on the 2014 Harley in the Napa lane. Oh, the Harley is out in front by the 8th mile at 90 miles per hour. They're going to finish up at 112.78 in a time of 12.12 seconds to beat out the Dyna by 3 seconds clean here. We'll swap back to some cars now. We got Randy Wilton in the 1987 Toyota Camry in the AMA lane to take on Justin King in the 2019 VW Golf R in the Napa lane. Now, by the 8th mile, the Golf is out in front, and it looks like it'll stay that way as they finish off at 110 miles per hour in 12.32 seconds to beat out the Camry by 4.5 seconds. Next, in the AMA lane, we got Josie Steele in the 1987 Chevy S10 with Dean Watts in the Napa lane, driving a 2022 Chevy Camaro ZL1. Both get good reaction times here, and they're keeping it fairly neck and neck by the 8th mile, though the Camaro out in front, gaining, and yeah, they will claim it. 11.89 seconds at 120.71 miles per hour. They will take the victory by 1.24 seconds. Next up, it's going to be a solo quarter mile here from Mitchell Armstrong in the 1989 Plymouth Horizon in the AMA lane. And the Plymouth Horizon crosses the quarter mile at 104.34 miles per hour for a time of 12.68 seconds. As we take another solo quarter mile here from Marcel in the 2015 BMW. Marcel's going to cross over the 8th mile at 81.37 miles per hour, and they're going to finish this one off at 101.95 for a time of 13.43 seconds. As we move back to some races between the bikes, we get Akron on the 2007 Dyna going up against Jerry on the 2006 Harley, which you can see in the Napa lane. And the Harley will take this one at 112.53 miles per hour, time of 12.23 seconds. That's going to beat out the Dyna by just a little over 2.5 seconds. Back and skipping out on the Mutual Propane Burnout box, we got Dave Law in the 2018 Jeep Trackhawk to take the AMA lane solo. Peeling out of that Mutual Propane Burnout box, it's a 1984 Grand Prix in the Napa lane, taking on Randy Wilton's 1987 Toyota Camry in the AMA lane. And the Grand Prix is the first to cross at 103.16 miles per hour, finishing in a time of 13.32 seconds there. As we move on now to another solo lap. It's going to be Dean Watts out from Red Deer in the 2022 Chevy Camaro ZL1, who I'm sure you hear squealing a bit right there. And off to a skittering start here. Dean Watts is off by the 8th mile. Seems that they are up to 93.81 miles per hour. They're going to finish off the quarter mile, though, at 119.62 in a time of 12.2 seconds as we swap back to some bikes and a race. Already off. We got Jerry in the 2006 Harley in the AMA lane with Akron on the 2007 Dyna in the Napa lane. The Harley's out in front by the 8th, and yeah, they're going to take it 111.97 miles per hour for a time of 12.36 seconds. That Harley is going to beat out the Dyna by just under 2 seconds. Peeling out of that mutual propane burnout box and ready for a solo quarter mile, we got Rick Richardson in the 1980 Chevy Camaro Z28 in the AMA lane. And the Camaro will finish off the quarter mile in 12.07 seconds for a speed of 113.84 as they cross the line. Next up, we got another solo lap here. It's Brennan Mason on the in the 1978 Chevy truck in the Napa lane. They hit the 8th mile at the 8th at 77.47 miles per hour. They'll finish at 80.62, bringing it up just a little bit there for a time of 14.25 seconds. As we shift back to Dave Law in the 2018 Jeep Trackhawk, once again back for the solo lap in the AMA lane. It looks like it didn't quite register his kickoff there, his start, but you know he went fast. And we're back with a race. It's Robert in the 2018 Dodge Challenger in the AMA lane to take on Randy Wilton's 1987 Toyota Camry in the Napa lane. And the Dodge Challenger takes it at 105.83 miles per hour for a time of 12.52 seconds. Next, the bike's already off. We got Jerry on the 2006 Harley in the AMA lane. Once again, taking on Akron on the 2007 Dyna. And Jerry's going to take it again, 113.61 miles per hour 11.98 seconds. That's going to beat out Akron by 3 seconds clean. As we move on to another solo quarter mile, it's Josie Steele in the 1987 black Chevy S10 pulling on up in the AMA lane. Peeling out of that neutral propane burnout box, we got Chris back in the 1993 Mazda RX-7 in the Napa lane to take the quarter mile solo. And they're off to a squeal. Finishing off a quarter mile, 130 miles per hour in 11.2 seconds. That is Chris on the 1993 Mazda RX-7. And back to the track, we got Randy Wilton in the 1987 Toyota Camry in the AMA lane to take the quarter mile solo. And the Camry finishes off at 95.6 miles per hour for a time of 15.22 seconds. And we still got another race. It's Rick Richardson in the 1980 Chevy Camaro pulling on up to the neutral propane burnout box in the AMA lane with Brennan Mason in the 1978 black Chevy truck in the Napa lane. Woo, look at those clouds coming off of Brennan's truck. I actually can't see the vehicles. All right, as the exhaust clears, they are off to a solid start here with a quicker reaction from Rick Richardson. And Rick's going to take it at 96 miles per hour, a time of 12.36 seconds. Brennan trailing in behind 1.8 seconds later. Next, we'll see another solo lap here in the AMA lane from Randy Welton in the 1987 Toyota Camry. All right, this is the last call. If you were hearing this and you still want to squeeze in your last lap here, last race, this is it. This is the warning. There's no more fancy way to say that. All right, we've got Caitlin Stewart back in the 2019 VW Golf for a solo lap in the Napa lane. Gotta say, this one's probably my favorite car of the night. Pink night 2019 VW Golf. And look at it go. She gets it up to 104.82 miles per hour. 13.13 seconds. I'll tell you what, I won't be racing a VW Golf at the next red light. Next up, we got a race. It's Robert in the 2018 yellow Dodge Challenger pulling on up to the Napa lane. In the AMA lane, we got Damon Walker behind the wheel of a 2022 BMW. Finishing off at 122.12 miles per hour in 11.65 seconds. That one's going to go to Damon Walker in the 2022 BMW. Let's move on now to a solo lap in the AMA lane from Randy Wilton in the 1987 Toyota Camry. Oh. All right, we've got our last set of racers here. So if you have a helmet, we still have one out. Please make sure you come back, return that to the tower. And in the meantime, we've got our last driver of the night. It's Rick Richardson in the 1980 Chevy Camaro Z28. And that'll do it at 117.83 miles per hour in 11.52 seconds. Rick Richardson finishes off. Thank you all for coming out to JB's Power Center's Friday night Street Legals. Sorry, got a little lost there because we got one more car. All right, I misspoke, I guess.